Hi everyone, welcome to Traci Bautista Color. I am Traci and I am thrilled that you are here to join me for my Pigment Bars Box reveal. So thank you all for joining me, everybody who's here live. If you are here live, please say hi in the chat and let us know where you are in the world. I see a few people online. Hey Celia, hey Nancy from Virginia and South Carolina. Great to have you here. Don't be shy. Go ahead and put your greeting in the chat. And I'd love to know if I have any of my Pigment Bars Box subscribers here. And I'd love to know, if you are a subscriber, which has been your favorite box so far. So over the next 5 days or so, I am going to be sharing a few little peeks into the Pigment Bars box. So if you follow me on social media, on Instagram, you'll see posts in my story, and here on YouTube, if you are watching this live, or if you're watching this in the replay, welcome. I'll be probably coming on live 1 or 2 more times in the next few days just to show you a little bit more about the Pigment Bars box. But today I thought it would be fun to do a little reveal, and I'm going to do this in a couple of different ways. So how many of you are new to Traci Bautista Color and what I offer? I am, for those of you, if you are new and you're just like happen to stumble across this video, I'm a mixed media artist and an author and educator. I've been teaching how to paint and mixed media classes and creative business for almost probably about 20 years. And I have, in the past 7 years, developed and designed my handcrafted artisanal paint line, which includes the pigment bars. Today we're going to focus on the pigment bars, which are a wax paint, and I'll tell you a little bit more about them if they are new to you. And I also design handcrafted watercolor inks and pigment stones, which are kind of like pastels, and my pigment bars, which are wax paints and the wax pastels. So the pigment bars have just been this really beautiful product that has kind of exploded over the last couple of years. So I wanted to show you some of the boxes that I've created over the last few years, and I'm going to do that in presentation style. I have a little slide deck, but I also will show you some actual physical samples so you can actually see what a box looks like and what it is. The Pigment Bars box is, I started a quarterly subscription, I think it was in August of last year, maybe? Yes. Prior to that, I had just been selling them as single collections, and so they just had kept selling out. So I wanted to be able to have an inventory, but not an over excessive inventory. So I make everything in small batches and in limited edition collections. So I wanted to be able to create this subscription so that every quarter, if you were part of this amazing group of artists, you would get a curated color palette designed by me and a little fun bonus art supply. So I'm going to share some of those things that have been in the boxes and show you a couple of the past boxes. So let me see who else is here. Hi Ari, hi Nancy, nice to have you. Joined from, oh, Panama, fun. And Nancy says she's new to pigment bars. Yes, so I'm going to show you what they are. And again, they are a wax paint. And let me bring my slide deck up so you can all see it. I've got a couple of monitors here, so let me get the presentation up. And this will give you an idea of what pigment bars are. So they are these beautiful, colorful bars of highly pigmented wax, and they are made with a variety of earth pigments and organic pigments and a couple of organic plant waxes, and some of them have little bits of sparkle and metallic flakes in them. So depending on how you use them, they create a bunch of different colors. So some have up to sometimes 4 or 5 different colors in them. And so as you use the pigment bars, they release different types of color. So here's just a list of some of the things that you can do, and I'm actually going to show some samples with this list. And I just wanted to give you an overview. I'm going to switch my camera so that I can show you what they physically look like. But in the subscription, you get a curated package every month that comes in a fun little box, and they have 4 bars in them, but the bars have usually, like I said, 2 to 4 colors. So you're getting about 8 to 12 colors depending on the bars that you get inside your package. So let me switch to my desk and show you a little sample. Hopefully the lighting, it's noontime, so it's a little bright right now, but I think it looks okay. So on my desk right now, you see one of my journals. I've been trying to do some really quick sketches every day with all of my handmade watercolors. And so this one has, with my handmade paints, so this one has watercolor and the pigment bars on them. And I'll show you the bars in a minute, but this project that I've been doing, I don't really commit to the 100-day project because I never finish it, but I try to do a fun daily project a couple of times a year. But since the 100-day project started this last week, I thought, oh, let me just try and see. I don't really have anything planned. I just come into the studio and make some marks every day. And I've been starting off with these really thin kind of pieces of paper that I can use for collage later. But this is all color from the pigment bars and a couple of different colored pencils. The skinnier lines, the thinner lines are from colored pencils and a graphite stick. But the pigment bars are so fun because they can be used in a lot of different ways. So this is some of the pigment bars from the holiday collection, I think, are in here, and the Enchanted Evergreens. I think this one might be from the graffiti, Nature's Graffiti collection. So you'll notice that they have a couple of different colors in them. So they're duotone usually, but then when you look on the inside, some of these have even more color in the middle. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but there's like a little bit of pink inside there. So when you get down to this little section of the bar, it will release that pink color. So you can use them as a wax resist. Let me see if I can find some samples as I do this. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and then I'll answer them while I'm going to move my presentation so I can see the chat while I am demoing. Hey Shar, nice to have you here. So let's go over here. And I just pulled out a bunch of my swatches right now just to kind of show you what is possible with them. On Friday, I'm actually going to do a live where I will be kind of swatching things out and showing you more of a demo. But I thought it would be fun just to kind of give you a visual of what they can do. So here in this particular piece, let me get my camera back up so I can see what I'm showing you. This was from my Play Collective live workshop the other day, but I was showing a bunch of different mixed media techniques with the pigment bars. So some of these are pigment bars underneath some of mixed with some other mixed media. So really kind of having fun with the abstract landscape idea that I've been painting over the last couple of years. But you can use these, like I said, to use as a resist. You can see some of my mark making behind there with the pigment bars. So this is a piece of the Canson XL sand grain in gray toned paper. And I really love the texture. So any kind of texture paper, they work great on, and even on just regular, this is really inexpensive paper. I got this at Daiso, but I love using it for collage paper and also just to do quick, really quick like play. And I usually will play on this type of paper because I work so fast and so prolific. It gives me, you know, like pieces I can tear really easily, and then later I can actually collage these into my sketchbook if I want to kind of play with the ideas further. So these are some of those that I did in the last couple of days, just playing with the pigment bars. Let's see. Hey, Susanna, great to have you here. Let's see. Are there smaller ways to heat aside from skillet I've seen you use? Yes, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So I will address your question in a couple of minutes with that. Here's the watercolor resist. So here we have a little watercolor resist. So using the pigment bars and then painting over the top of it with watercolor. So this is from my holiday collection. And I create all of these little swatch cards so that I can get a sense of how the colors lay down and what you can do with them on different types of paper. So this is a really inexpensive watercolor paper from Strathmore. I've got the Mixed Media 400 series paper, and I actually painted on both sides of these. This is ink, my pigment bars, and some of my watercolors. And I've got some oil paper from Strathmore, and I think that's mixed media paper also. So let me grab some of to address Susanna's questions, some of the things that you can do when they're heated. So not only can you use them heated or as just regular like drawing tools, you know, like you can just draw right on top of the paper, and you can see you get this beautiful lay down of color. Depending on how you hold it, you can really lay down a lot of color very quickly if you're using the sides. And then if you are using one side, you can actually, let's see if you can see this, you should be able to. I've got a little bit of that peach color, but I can also take that and mix it. So there's another lighter kind of peachy color, and you can use it kind of as a blender bar with the other paint colors. So I love just creating these swatches because it gives me an idea of like how the colors are going to lay down on top of each other. So when it comes to heating them, that's one of my favorite ways to work with the pigment bars is hot. And some of these are more little swatches. I'll show you what I do. So I take little or larger sheets of paper, and then I like to cut them down into this like swatch size because it gives me, you know, kind of these like little thumbnail types of pieces. And oh, I brought this out to show you what this is all about. Let me move all my watercolors out of the way. So I brought this out because I wanted to show you how the pigment bars look when they're dry, and then as you heat them, they get very saturated and darker. So you get this beautiful darker color. This one looks more like a like an oil pastel kind of mark, versus when it's wet, you get this really beautiful kind of wax matte paint. It's very kind of gritty because of the pigment that's in there. And then you can see how you can layer it. So underneath here is just actually like scribbling with the pigment bars. And then on top, I heated the pigment bars, melted them a little bit, and then with a brush, I'm brushing over the top. So you can kind of see the difference in the amount of color that you can get when you use them dry, regular, or as you start to heat them up. You can really create some beautiful textures and layers of color. So here's some more examples of that. This is also heated on I use a what do you call that? Like a portable pancake griddle, and you place the paper down onto the surface so the paper gets hot, and then you can color right on top of it with the pigment bars. And these are straight from the pigment bar colors. This was, I believe, some of the holiday enchanted evergreen colors, and you can see how beautiful they are. Also, I love it because of the texture. It's this like, almost looks like encaustic. There's no encaustic medium in them, but you can mix them with encaustic paint and encaustic medium to create encaustic paint out of them, because they are made with a couple of different plant waxes. Again, more like really dark color from, I believe it's actually probably this color. So this is heated, that color, and then if I color it on here, it's actually still really nice and deep and creamy, but you get more of that like oil pastel look. There is no oil in these bars. It's just wax and pigment. And then playing with a brush, and then again just layering on different types of paper. I wanted to test out the oil painting paper from Strathmore. It kind of has, like, you can see if I put it up really close, it has a bit of like a linen kind of texture on the actual paper. So that comes out when you use the pigment bars. The reason I love doing these little swatch cards like this is because I can take this idea, put these up on my inspiration board, and then if I wanted to work larger, I could really bring and scale this up. So having these like little like samplers and tests of color and how they layer is a lot of a fun one. You get to learn how the colors blend together and what they do, some different techniques. So like this is sgraffito, so you can see that little kind of rainbow mark making. That's just scraping out of the wax when it's dry, and then layering with some colored pencils, and again doing a little bit more sgraffito. But you can see, like, this is a really fun idea where I could really take this a lot larger if I wanted to. So again, this is all from, I think, the Boho Vibes collection. And I'm gonna go back, since I've shown you all those, I'm gonna go back and just show you some of the boxes, and so you can get an idea of how they look when they come shipped, and just you can get an idea of some of the colors that I've designed over the last couple of years. Let me see. Oh, and then Susanna asked about a smaller tool or smaller ways. Yeah, so I don't have my travel iron here, but I have my quilting iron. Let me show you what this looks like. And This is a quilting iron. This is probably like 20 years old. I've been painting with wax for a very long time. So I have a bunch of these because I used to teach classes when I taught in person. I would bring these, but this is a great tool. It's not plugged in right now, so definitely if it's hot, you don't want to touch any of this because you will burn yourself really badly. But I don't have it plugged in. But the nice thing about this is that you can take your bar and just put it right to the edge and drip it, and then you can paint it with this little iron. If you want to cover more space, I also suggest using a travel iron, which they're about like that big, maybe like they're the bottom of them maybe about that big or a little larger, and the ones without holes are the best. You can also do printmaking techniques with the travel iron. If you have it upside down, you can paint the wax on it. It's definitely not as great as using, well, I mean, they both actually are great. These are great for detailed work, but if you want to melt down, wax in a larger kind of area, the pancake griddle is the best. You can get them online at Target, places like that for between $20 and $40, $50 for a nice one. I just bought a brand new one because I wanted one that had a little bit of a lighter griddle so that I could see the paint a little better, because the two that I have a black griddle. So I found one that is, I think it's gray. I was looking for one with a white bottom. Oh, sorry, Andy. Andy's right up my toes. I was looking for one with a white bottom, but I couldn't find one so I just got the gray one. So I'm going to see how that goes. But I am teaching it in my ink and wax class, which is actually coming up in March. And if you're on my email list, you'll get more information about that. But I'll be showing a bunch of different techniques about how you can use the pigment bars heated, and also just as their regular selves, just as a drawing mark making tool. They're awesome to use with stencils. So let me pull out, hold on, let me find it really quick. I'm going to switch back to my presentation and show you also how they look with stencils. It's one of my favorite things to use. I'm going to put this back on the screen. There we go. So I just saw this thing here. One of my projects, personal projects, is to spend some time like organizing all of my swatches. So I have them all kind of in stacks everywhere around my studio. So that has been a bit of a project. But stencils are great because you can, let's go back to my camera here. This is on fabric, but you can do the same thing on paper, but I love how it works on fabric. And you can actually see a couple of videos on my YouTube channel where I show how to use them, but I also will be teaching it more in my new workshop. But layering, these are my Soulful Scribbles Stencil Girl stencils, and these are all pigment bars layered with them. And this was the Nature's Graffiti collection. The sun is like disappeared. Let me make this a little brighter so you can see that. And this is on like a drill cloth, so a really tight woven kind of cotton canvas. And depending on the tool you use, you can get some beautiful like faded marks. This is coloring it with like a scrubber brush, and then also just doing kind of like an over glaze, kind of like glaze in parentheses, over the top. So really fun work with stencils. You can also use acrylic medium underneath. One of my favorites is what is that stuff called? Is Super Matte Medium. I'm trying to find one of my samples of that. Let's see if I have one over here. I don't know if I do. I thought I pulled out one of my journals. This is They also work lovely on texture. This is khadi paper from India. It's a cotton 100% cotton acid-free paper. So if you like more textured look, that's the pigment bars on that type of paper. This is also one of my favorite French handmade papers with ink and wax. And let's see if I have any that are over, oh yeah, I do, here they are. Have any that are over the, here they are, I think it's in this. So let me see, this side, okay, yeah. This side is, this was, I think it's either pastel ground. I should have wrote a note on there. I'm pretty sure it's pastel ground because it's kind of like off-white. It's either pastel ground or absorbent ground. I can't remember on this one. And you see the difference. So it's still vibrant here without anything underneath it. But once you have the acrylic medium as a base, it really gives you this like really intense color. This is the same color, this one and this one. Let's bring it up closer so you can see the difference. And I really recommend working any kind of pastel, water soluble, color pencil, having that texture underneath. So this whole side, I'll demo that on Friday. This whole side has the medium underneath, and it just gives this so much more depth to your colors. So these are also pigment bars. I don't think this has any medium underneath. It has watercolor, my watercolors underneath. And this is inside a, what kind of journal is this? This is a problem with this. Oh, it's not a problem, but I don't work in like any order. So, and I don't really use, oh, here it is. I don't really think about the top and bottom, so that's why you see me keep turning it around. This is the mixed media Strathmore. You can find this journal sketchbook at Target. I think it's like $5. It's actually a really good one. It's a student grade journal. You can also do some fun transferring with, this is just a piece of parchment paper, but deli paper would work. So I also mix it with like RNF, those blender sticks. You can use those to work with their pigment sticks. So this is a little bit of the printmaking that I did with the pigment bars. So these are techniques that I'm going to be sharing more of inside my ink and wax class. But this whole journal is just kind of little experiments of the colors mixed with my mixed media, or with my handcrafted watercolors. This is like handcrafted watercolors and inks with the pigment bars. I should have dated these pages. This is back in 2022. I think these are like some of the Forever Chasing Sunsets colors. This is like the autumn of 2022, I think. So the last thing I wanted to show you in this particular journal is this. Oh, here they are. No. Here's one. This is some more of the pigment bars with a little bit of scrape back in them. And this, I don't think I mixed with anything. There's nothing underneath it. So I think this is in the Nature's Graffiti collection. And then here, this is the last one, show and tell, for a little bit. And this is the pigment bars with all of my handcrafted mixed media. So there's some of my watercolors in there. You can see some of my inks. So if you go closer, there's a little bit of shimmer in some of those inks. There is a little bit of, I think, graphite, the black. No, actually the black is these are my pigment sticks that I made a long time ago. They're basically like pastel, watercolor pastel. So you can do a lot with all of, this is all Traci Bautista color, like all my products together. So again, this is a really inexpensive sketchbook journal that I love because you can, I tear out the pages sometimes and I'll put them up on my wall. Sometimes I turn them into digital artwork. And let me go back to my presentation really quick and also look at your questions. Let's see. Nancy asked, are they water soluble? No, they are not. This particular product is not water soluble. It is made of wax, so they will act as a resist for water, which is awesome. So you can use them with watercolor and ink. And Shar says, I've never met a pigment bar I didn't love. I love that, Shar. Thank you. And she says the class sounds awesome. Yay. Yeah, water soluble mediums. I do design and create some pigment stones, which I don't think I have any right now on here, but I think I'm going to make it a collection coming up. Those are water soluble. I made those back in 2021 and 2022, and they were very popular. But those are water soluble, and my other watercolors and inks are getting pigment all over me. Okay, let me just go back really quickly to my presentation. And you can always come back and look at this list, but this is just a few of the things. You can mix them with linseed and walnut oil. And some of these techniques I'm going to kind of talk about in my in my wax and ink class. And I may do something that's a little bit more extensive that dives into some of these, like with the oil paints and with using them with I love, what is it called? It's the Williamsburg wax medium. I love that medium to mix with the pigment bars and with oil paint. So I've been experimenting a lot with that over the last year. But you can use them on paper, on fabric, on canvas, and lots of fun different things. These are just some samples of what you can do with them, with the Sgraffito, mixed media, some of the wax monoprints. That's also a really fun technique when you have them heated, when you use them heated. And I thought I would just really quickly show you some of the collections. So the pigment bars can be used with watercolor. On the right of the screen here where the blue dot is, that is the pigment bars as a resist. And up here is the pigment bars heated. So you see the difference in the color, how deep the color is, versus here the pigment bars are used dry. And then just, I'm practicing and using different papers. This is Strathmore Mixed Media 400 series. Down here, if you follow the blue dot on the screen, this is just like I don't know, something I got at Daiso. It's like a post-it notepad of graph paper. And then I do a lot of like swatching on my own cutout papers there. But this was this holiday season, 2023, last holiday season. And some of the swatches, some of the, you can see how they're packaged. So you do get every package is a slightly different. So if you do subscribe and you end up wanting to get 2 packages, so you get 8 bars total, you can do that. And we do our best to make sure that the colors don't repeat. Although you may have a couple of colors that repeat just because of how they are made. They're all different on each side. So you can see some of the the little flakes that are inside there, and every time you use any of these, you are going to get all of those different colors. These are the new wax pastels that I developed last year. It's a little bit of a harder wax mark making tool, and it's got a little bit different recipe, so it gives you a little bit different line work, and also you can get really a lot thinner lines when you use the wax pastels. So I really try to make most of my I'm at probably 99% of my packaging is recyclable and reusable. So I really encourage you, if you are a subscriber, to reuse these and use them as like a storage place for your bars or for any other materials. This was the Saints in Shadow Halloween collection last year. So you can see how these colors, just a little bit of the inspiration behind this was, a lot of it was from a trip that I took to Paris, and some of the walls, these are all photographs that I took, and those translate. So when I design a collection, I start with the inspiration behind it, and it tells the story and pulls together the color palette for that particular collection. So you can really see how some of these like golds and grays and deeper, darker colors are pulled from these photos into the bars themselves. And so last autumn, the autumn collection was the Boho Vibes collection. And I sometimes will start with an inspiration kind of flare tray or board that kind of gives me some direction. And then again, more based on this particular trip I took to Ocean Beach in San Francisco. So a lot of those colors were derived from the memories and the time I spent there for that day. So you see some of those colors pulled into the bars. And so each collection has its own theme and a story behind them. Like I said, this was Nature's Graffiti, which was the summerish collection, I guess, last year. And then also just some more swatching. So as I develop a collection, this is what I do. I swatch them, I mix. You'll see like there's layers of the bars because I want to see how they're going to mix when they are layered on each other. And then I really do extensive testing on like different substrates. So this image on the right here shows a bunch of different substrates. Fabric, this is the one I just showed you a minute ago, like 3 different types of fabric. There's like label paper, sticker paper, different types of textured papers. So I thought that showing this is kind of just gives you a good idea of how the collections are presented and how they're developed. So this is the Wander collection from early winter last year, and this is actually a bunch of the mixed media with that collection. Some of my products, watercolors and inks, along with there's a little bit of golden, titanium white in there, and then a bunch of my favorite drawing and mixed media mark making tools. So let me look to see if I have any questions. Sandra says, will there be a replay? Yes. So right after this ends, you can watch the replay. It'll be right here in YouTube Live. So don't worry if you missed anything. Celia says, I can't wait for the class. Awesome. I know, me too. Mary says, I have the same problem. Some of my pages are upside down. Yeah, in all of my sketchbooks, they're just random in there. This was the autumn collection. I think also Forever Chasing Sunsets. So one of my favorite things, again, is really the swatching. It really gives you an idea, and I encourage you to do this with any type of art supply that you have, not just mine, but it's a fun way to really learn and understand the colors, how they mix together. So like here in this middle where that blue dot is, this is one bar that has blue and yellow on each side, like an ochre on one side. I think this was probably either Prussian blue mixed with a little bit of other pigments. And then when you blend them together, you get this really beautiful green color. So that's the beauty of these bars when they are duotone like that. You can really mix multiple colors from one bar. This was the Holiday 2022 collection. So again, showing you how it looks like. This is actually on Clairefontaine Pastel Matte, which is one of my favorite color, papers also to play with the pigment bars with. It's such a really fun, if you like pastel, any kind of pastel, wax and regular chalk pastel, it's a really great paper. And then this is a little peek into the next collection. It's called Ocean Whisper. And many of you know my family is in Hawaii, and I spend quite a bit of time there, especially during the holidays. So I wanted to design a collection that was inspired, again, by some of my favorite beaches there, but also have kind of a wintry spring look and feel also. So this particular Ocean Whisper ink collection, the seashell collection, really was inspired by a seashell that my nieces found. And then really looking into, these are a couple of the pictures I took at sunset at the beach, one of the beaches out in Diamond Head. And I just really love the color here with the rocks and the water coming above it. So I take these pictures and then I pull color palettes from them inside of Procreate. So I love creating these mood boards. All of the pictures you see in here are pictures that I've taken throughout my travels and my explorations, and they oftentimes will inspire the paint collections. And so here's just another little peek at the seashell, the Ocean Whisper seashell. So while I pull all of these different colors, not all of them will make it into the collection, but it's kind of my guiding point, guiding North Star as I develop the colors. So in one of my upcoming lives, I'll talk more about how that process is, how the paints are developed, because I really love that process. It's very kind of intuitive a little bit. I don't have like a recipe for the paint colors. I can see a paint color and I have a bunch of pigments, and then I can mix it pretty much spot on just from looking at the color, and I can choose all the different pigments I have and mix the color within a few minutes. And so I normally will start with that one color, and then each of the colors in the collection kind of build around that based on the photos and the inspiration that I've collected. So I hope that gives you a really good idea of what the pigment bars are, and also how you can use them, but also just the love and attention and the creativity that goes into the design process and the making of them. There is such, it's like a 3-month process really, and sometimes even longer when it comes to designing the paint collections, and that's why I do a quarterly subscription. So today the Pigment Bars box is open for a limited time through February 25th. I only open it a couple of times a year because it's sold out. I have a few more spots I opened up for this next season. So if you're not a member already, I encourage you to join me. You can go to my website, tracibautistacolor.com, and right on the front page you'll see a little tab that says Pigment Bars box or join Pigment Bars box, and click on that and it'll give you all the details of what's included. But when you become a subscriber, for the first time subscribers, within the first there's a little fun early bird special that you can grab a 10 milliliter ink of my handcrafted inks if you sign up by the 22nd, which is tomorrow. So I will show you one more thing, and if I have any other questions, you can write them in the chat. I'm going to switch to my desktop really quick and show you a little bit inside a box. Well, this one has 6 bars, so that one I think I just threw a few in, but normally it's cleaner. But you get 4 pigment bars. This one has 2. It has, you can see it's like a darker on one side, a little bit lighter, so this is going to give you a little bit more of a tint of the color. But on this side, you notice that there's this beautiful gold pigment in there, so that will shine through once you get down to some of those other areas. Here again, there's 3 different colors on this one, actually 4. So there's that little bit of peach, there's 2 different greens in there, so you can kind of see just even on the side there the different colors of the pigments. Again, and this was the boho vibes, and I really love the way they look. It's almost as they're like little tiny abstract landscapes on the side when you look at them. And then another one of the, so you can see this one has like 4 I think this one has 4 or 5 different colors. So even the bottom sometimes has a little bit of a different, little bits of color in them. And sometimes, like, one collection had a couple of the wax pastels in them. One collection came with an ink. One collection came with a watercolor, a little watercolor sampler, and some, I think a pastel maybe. I can't remember. But every collection does have some really fun bonus art, and sometimes it's art supply. I think coming up we're gonna have one that has an art print and some fun like paper packages so that you can test out the bars on different papers, because I know sometimes it's hard to get different types of papers. So we're gonna do a paper pack in one of the ones coming up. So if you want to join me, I don't know when it's gonna open up again. Definitely if you want to, especially if you want to get in and get the Ocean Whisper collection, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'll be sharing some sneak peeks and showing you behind the scenes over the next week, or over the next several weeks as the collection is continuing to be developed. I did have some, where'd they go? I'll have to find them. I'll bring them out on, maybe I'll bring them out on Friday. I have some swatches of the paints that are in that collection. So the inks that are in that collection. So let me see if I have any additional questions. Susanna said Coastal Vibes was awesome. I know, that was one of my favorites too. It was so pretty. Art stones, yes please. I know, I think this year for the one of the Water Media Play boxes, that's my other subscription that has all of my products in it, but that one is sold out completely. I don't know if there'll be any spots open up this year. That one, I think I'll probably do a set of the pigment stones in there, and then I may have a few extra that I'll sell in my shop. So I hope I didn't miss anybody's questions as I look through the list. So thank you everybody for joining me live. For those of you who are here, definitely if you missed any of the live or the presentation, go back and watch the replay. You can also see the slide deck where I put a list of the things that you can do with the pigment bars. But make sure if you do sign up, oh, and if you're one of the first 7, I think there's a few more spots left that signs up for a yearly commitment, then you get an additional bonus. So you get 2 wax pastels if you're one of the first 7, I think 5 or 7, I can't remember, who sign up if you sign up for a year. So by signing up for the yearly subscription, you definitely get a discount. You get a bit of a discount when you do a monthly subscription, or it's not monthly, a quarterly subscription where you pay every quarter, versus like if you were to buy, if I have extra and I put them in my shop, they're going to be a little bit more expensive. So one, the subscription gives you first dibs on any of my products because I always mail out to my subscribers first. If there's extras, you get the first dibs on that. You also get the bonuses, which I forgot to talk about. You get a access to a paint and swatch workshop. I usually do a fun mixed media workshop every quarter. And then you get access to the goodies and bonuses in each box. There's usually some really fun tools that I put in there, found tools, things that I love to use when I'm creating with the pigment bars, and then you get more behind the scenes peeks into the collection as it develops. One of the things I'm trying to do this coming up year and in the future is really document the pigments that are going in them and the light fastness. Most of the pigments that I use are light fast, and you know, except for with the exception of like some of the fluorescent types of pigments. But I'm really trying to get better at documenting like everything that's going into the actual collections. So it also gives you an idea of, you know, what creates all these beautiful colors, and And so I'm going to be sharing little peeks into that, and also some of the artwork that I'm creating as I'm developing the collection. So thank you, everybody. Oh, there's one more question. RB, welcome. She says, can you collage with papers that have pigment bars on them? Yes, you can. So I use Collage Page, which is my collage glue. Oh, here, I have some here. So I love using matte. You can use this. You can also use super matte medium or matte medium, I should say. I prefer to use those types of mediums with the wax because the pigment bars have, they're a little bit more matte. I think they work well with the more of, you know, this kind of collage. You can also, if you don't want to kind of change the surface, you can also collage with the bars heated. So you can actually use the bars as a collage medium. So you can take it and melt them. You can also melt a little bit of beeswax with the bars and then use that as a collage medium, which I'm hoping that'll be maybe one of the techniques that I can try and cover in my workshop. There's a lot that I want to cover, so I'm not sure how that's going to work, but maybe I can, I'll have to write that one down because it would be fun to show you. There was a time when I did a lot of wax collage back in probably almost 20 years ago. But yes, you can use any of, I prefer the matte kind of mediums to collage with. You can also use, what else? You could use gloss, but I think it just would detract from the actual texture of the pigment bars. But if you like using gloss, you can certainly use that. You can also just collage with like a glue stick on the back side and not put anything on top. As long as you get all the corners of your paper, then it'll be fine. You can keep it, you know, it'll stay pretty well. She said, oh, I didn't even read the second part of your question. Would you use a glue stick to adhere when matte medium works? So I answered your question. Sorry, I didn't even read that part. Yes, so either would work. So if you have more questions, feel free to write them in the chat and I'll see if I can get back to you. And then on Friday, I think I will probably either do the live at noon, same time, or at 4. I'm gonna look at my schedule. But if you follow me on YouTube, you'll get notifications when I go live. If you're on my email list, you'll get a notification when the day before, and with the time and all of the links and everything. So definitely check out the Pigment Bar subscription. I would love for you to join me and our really fun community of people. And if you are a subscriber and you've created any work, or even one of my paint customers, if you created any artwork using the pigment bars or my watercolors, I would love to see photographs. So if you have them on Instagram, just tag me or send me a DM on Instagram and share your photos. I want to feature more of that on my Instagram stories and also in my newsletter. So, and on the website, I'm designing a section on the website that's all about customer love notes. So there'll be some fun little features of different artists. So if you do have any of your artwork, I would love to see it. And I love seeing it when you tag me on Instagram. I try to share them in my stories if you tag me. So thank you, everybody, and I would love for you to join me again. We only have a limited number of spots, and they're, I think, about half gone. So again, it's open till the 25th, but if they fill up before then you won't be able to get in for probably at least 3 more months. If I do open it up again, it'll open up again at least one more time this year. So if you want to become part of the Pigment Bar subscription, don't forget to go to tracibautistacolor.com. Okay, everybody, thanks so much for joining me today. Have a great time and spend some time playing and experimenting and having fun in the studio in your sketchbook or art journal. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye.